This is Alexander, and you are watching UFOtonight. In this first episode, we'll talk about the drone incursions, the Mosul Orb, the Pentagon's double down on disinformation, and much more. We're going to flash back to Texas in 1897, and we're putting the spotlight on Bob Lazar. Welcome to UFOtonight. Welcome to UFOtonight, Episode 1. My name is Alexander, and I'll be your host. Here we discuss current events in a world of high strangeness. We revisit the history of phenomena, and we dive into philosophy. All of this to explore the irony of reality. We'll go from A to Z, from UFO and ET to UAP and ARV, NHI and EBE. From the shadows of the CIA and the DoD, NGA and DOE, AFOSI, Black SAPs, Real World X-Files. Why don't we start tonight with news? Welcome to the UFOreport. I'm Alexander. Tonight we'll begin with the drone incursions, breaching airspace along the border communities of the USA. Initially thought to be limited to only New Jersey and the surrounding areas in November of last year, they have actually been happening all over the world since then and haven't stopped. The government keeps changing the official explanation, but theories range from private contractors to the cartel, extraterrestrial biological entities, or all of the above. The latest word on the street is that it was China, infiltrating our borders with no apparent recourse. Regardless, the serious implications of this are being naively overlooked, of course, as always, by John Q. Public. The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and the Pentagon have been catching flack for articles that were released on July 1st claiming that the UFO phenomenon has been a hoax all along by the government to control public narrative. Did the deep state invent the UFO craze? Obviously, this is being met with significant blowback, and it can only point to one thing: desperation. A last-ditch effort to promote a dying cover-up, that there's nothing to see here. Just remember the phrase, where there's smoke, there's fire. Next, we are talking about the Boogosphere and the attempted robbery that happened about 3 weeks ago after a press conference in Mexico City. The sphere, being touted as not of this world, was originally reported to be flying around in Colombia since March 2nd of this year. And there's videos you can find all over the internet. Congressman Eric Burleson and ufologist Dr. Stephen Greer have been among the most noted, along with a group of scientists, in an investigation to determine the origin of the sphere. Dr. Greer has claimed that fake policemen tried to steal the sphere out of a vault where it's being stored. In my unprofessional opinion, the Boogosphere is 100% not authentic, not alien. What is it then? Well, it's alien tech, which has been reverse engineered by humans and planted into the mainstream for us to digest. It's clear to me that this is just another desperate and weak attempt by the powers that be to affect the pace of disclosure. In other words, they're trying to prepare us all for the real thing. Next is the Mosul Orb. Now this might be the real thing. Some of the clearest UFO footage yet to be released by the government is currently making its rounds among the UFO community. The footage is still garbage, but it's the best they're giving us so far. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are championing this story along with journalist Dustin Slaughter, who took the government to court to get the footage, since the Freedom of Information Act on its own is a complete oxymoron. The orb was filmed with a passive capture from a CIA assets plane as it flew over Iraq back in April of 2016. A deep secret underground military base, also known as a dumb, believed to be located in Sedona, Arizona, is gaining notoriety in the UFO conversation. So too are the underwater bases, namely a base said to be underneath Guadalupe Island just off the coast of Mexico. All are thought to be under the control of NHI, or non-human intelligence, aliens, with bases underground on Earth. Now, this is authentic, in my opinion. It's been investigated by the likes of Ross Coulthart and Danny Sheehan, two of the best in the game. I predict a lot more to come out in the future with these types of bases. The push for UFO disclosure seems to be looming ever closer, even snowballing out of control. In fact, keep an eye out for Spielberg's next blockbuster, set to release in June of next year. That's it for the UFO Report this week. I'm Alexander. Now back to the show.
I'm just happy that reporter wasn't around to start splashing it over the papers that our pilots are seeing flying saucers. What was that? A flying saucer? Oh, no, not those things again.
Now it's time to flash back to the 1897 Aurora, Texas incident, where a UFO crash landed on a farm and an alien body was not only recovered by a civilian, it was also buried in a local cemetery. It was reported on April 19, 1897, that an airship crashed into a windmill on the property of Judge J.S. Proctor 2 days prior around 6 a.m. The pilot did not survive the crash, but was described as smaller than average in stature and appearing to be not of this world. Local military officers out of Fort Worth began to speculate that the being was a native of Mars. The pilot was buried with Christian rites at the Aurora cemetery by the local townsfolk and a traveling pastor. To this day, the cemetery still contains a Texas Historical Commission marker describing the event. After the group buried the dead alien with some broken pieces from the ship, they got rid of the remaining wreckage from the crash site by dumping it down a nearby well located under the damaged windmill. In 1935, a man named Raleigh Oates purchased the farm from Judge Proctor. Oates cleaned out the debris from the well in order to use the water, and later developed an extremely severe case of arthritis. He claimed the water in the well was contaminated by the alien debris. Oates proceeded to seal up the well with concrete in 1945. There have been numerous investigations in the decades following this event, and some great documentaries have been produced, including one with Jim Mars. There were multiple witnesses and accounts of the airship that extend beyond just Aurora, Texas at the time. But like all great UFO stories, the body of evidence remains inconclusive due to the denial and obfuscation of the record.
There's an unknown on my radar. Whatever it is, it's going over 9,000 miles an hour.
It was May of 1989 when the world first learned about Bob Lazar, a physicist working at a top-secret military base known as Area 51. S4 was the name of the sub-facility hidden within the Nevada test site out in the desert. Lazar was hired to reverse engineer a flying saucer, to figure out what the power source was and how to recreate it. What began as a dream come true for young Bob soon descended into a nightmare. The clandestine nature of the job description soon destroyed his home life and his career. Lazar was left out in the cold, afraid, confused, and alone with a secret. The physicist was without a support system. And so he reached out to his friends. He guided them to midnight locations where secret test flights of UFOs were being conducted. He needed to share the truth. And one night he and his friends got caught watching the show. Since then, Bob has been in constant fear for his life, and for good reason. In order to escape the vulnerability of obscurity, Lazar went public. The first person to introduce the world to Area 51, but he was far from the last. Although Bob's had his permanent records doctored and even erased, nothing can change the fact that his story has not once changed. And with each passing year, more and more corroborative evidence is added to the pile. You can call Bob a liar, a traitor, a criminal, whatever you see fit, but I'm here to tell you something. Bob Lazar is telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Anyone who does their due diligence would come to the same undeniable conclusion. Through disinformation and smear campaigns, he remains the crazy physicist with a checkered past, who packs an Uzi, who outfitted his sedan with a jet engine just to drive faster than 200 miles per hour. Despite it all, the truth is like a lion. It doesn't need anyone to defend it. Set it free, and it will defend itself. Now you even have the chance to see it all through Bob's eyes, exactly as he saw it. With the release of the new documentary S4, The Bob Lazar Story, as well as an interactive VR experience, Project Gravitor, where you not only see through Bob's eyes, but you step into his shoes. Directed by Luigi Venditelli, this is set to release any day now.
Whoever drops even one little hint about any of this will immediately become the most miserable man in the Air Force, I personally guarantee.
And we're going to stay here for another couple hours here to see if we can show you folks an actual extraterrestrial flying saucer being flown by the government. We're standing on public land. It's completely legal where we are. And if you'd like to come here later in the show, we'll tell you exactly how to get here.
Well, you can mention who's with you, John.
We have Bob Lazar, and we have Jackie Lazar, Bob's wife, and we have Gene Huff. And this mission was organized tonight by Bob Lazar, who is a theoretical physicist who works at Groom Lake.
And is also a dead man. We're having this on film that he wrote.
Yeah, right. I'm happy.
You want your name on there that you're
Yeah.
We're out here with the late Bob Lazar. Look at it now. Not bright enough for me to get the sun. Here, hold on, right here.
And that's it for this edition of UFO Spotlight. Okay. Time to close out UFO Tonight with some logical analysis. Causality. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Deductive reasoning. Overwhelming corroboration spanning 80 years. This isn't going away. If you look at the caliber of the intelligence across the vast range of witnesses over 80 years, ranging from presidents to janitors, from police officers to military officers to children, it's undeniable that the corroboration is there. I mean, anyone who does their due diligence would see this. I think at this point it's more about the denial and the inability to stomach the reality of the situation that we should be steering this conversation towards. Because I don't think it's about belief. I think it's about acceptance. And I understand completely. In fact, I am not surprised that those in the know at the very top want to keep it secret. I think it may be for our own good. Although I do want to know the truth, I think I can handle it. I honestly don't know about the rest of the world.
Check your oxygen supply. Stop babbling that nonsense about flying saucers. It's probably just a speck in your eye. Colonel, I'm telling you this. I prefer you to think of it as a speck in your eye. And that's an order. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't give you any information right now. Yes, you're fucking How about that? No, wait a minute. Why so much secrecy?
Alright, that music means tonight's episode is over. But as always, thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time. Remember, with every piece of knowledge you obtain, and with every bit of truth you come to accept, you're stepping closer and closer towards freeing a mind that's been conditioned and imprisoned. You're stepping closer and closer toward expanding your consciousness and your potential, toward developing into an integrated and higher frequency version of yourself. It's time for change. We're all running out of days, and we would all like to know the real truth before we go. Or would we? Thank you for watching, and until next time, this is Alexander, signing off with UFO Tonight.